Galactic Empire declared war. The human woman general only smiled. Is that all you've got? Part 1. The Declaration. The message arrived on a quiet cycle, across hundreds of human-controlled systems. Lights dimmed for just a moment as priority channels forced their way through civilian and military networks alike. On trading stations, pilots paused mid-argument. On distant colonies, workers looked up from dusty fields and humming machines. In orbit above Earth, satellites shifted position, aligning their sensors toward the same source. The Galactic Empire had spoken. The declaration was not short, nor was it polite. A towering alien figure filled the screen, draped in layered metal robes and glowing symbols of authority. Its voice was translated into human languages with perfect clarity, heavy and cold. Humanity was accused of trespass, of disruption, of refusing to submit to proper galactic order. The Empire listed star systems it claimed as its own, even though humans had lived there for decades. It spoke of punishment, of cleansing force, of war fleets already in motion. The message ended with a demand: unconditional surrender within one standard cycle. On Earth, deep beneath reinforced stone and steel, the Supreme Defense Council chamber remained silent as the transmission faded. General Lavra King stood at the center of the room, her hands resting lightly on the edge of the holotable. She was not tall, nor did she wear anything dramatic. Her uniform was plain, marked only with small service ribbons and the symbol of unified command. Her dark hair was pulled back neatly, and her expression was calm. Around her, officers shifted uneasily. Admiral Ben Carter broke the silence first. "That's very direct," he said carefully. Colonel Amy Brooks leaned forward, scrolling through paused frames of the alien speaker. "They broadcast this to neutral systems, too. They want witnesses." Laura nodded once. "Of course they do." Several advisors expected anger. Others expected fear, or at least tension. Instead, Lavra watched the empty screen for a long moment, as if the speaker might return. Then she smiled. It was not a wide smile, not mocking, just a small, relaxed curve of the lips. "Is that all?" she asked quietly. The room froze. Ben turned toward her. "General?" They listed threats, numbers, old intelligence. Lavra straightened and folded her hands behind her back. No mention of our current fleet strength. No awareness of the new defense grids. No understanding of our alliances. Amy's eyes narrowed. "You think they don't know?" "I think," Lavra replied, "they know what they want to know." She gestured to the table. The holo display shifted, showing a wide map of human space. Blue markers showed colonies, shipyards, and patrol routes. Red lines marked estimated Imperial advance paths. "They see expansion and assume carelessness," Lavra said. "They see diversity and assume weakness. They see debate and assume division." A young officer near the edge of the room swallowed. "And what do we do, ma'am?" Lavra looked at him, her gaze steady but kind. "We listen." That answer confused several people. "We let them come," she continued. "Not far, not fast, just enough." Amy frowned. "You want to give up ground?" "I want them comfortable," Lavra said. "Confident. Empires fight best when they think the ending is already written." The council exchanged glances. No one liked the idea of losing systems, even temporarily. Those places held people, families, lives. Lavra seemed to read the concern on their faces. "No civilian worlds," she added immediately. "We evacuate where needed. Automated stations only. We protect our people first." Ben exhaled slowly. "Logistics can manage that." "Good," Lara said. "Then we move." Above Earth, the message continued to echo. News channels replayed it again and again. Commentators argued. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others called for peace talks, for compromise, for surrender if needed. Protests formed in major cities, both against war and against fear. On Mars, dock workers watched the broadcast in silence as cargo drones passed overhead. On the ocean world of Haven, fishermen listened to it over static-filled radios, gripping worn controls with white knuckles. Fear spread quickly, but something else spread too. Curiosity across the galaxy. Other species watched the same declaration. Many had heard such words before, aimed at them in past centuries. Most had learned what followed: resistance, collapse, absorption into the Empire. They waited to see how humans would react. The Empire waited as well. Imperial analysts reviewed human responses. They noted the lack of immediate fleet movement. No dramatic speeches. No aggressive counter-broadcast. Just silence. They hesitate, one analyst said confidently. They argue, said another. Fractured leadership. Inefficient. The Imperial War Council approved Phase 1 of the campaign. Human. Listening posts detected the first shifts in hyperspace mass within. Hours. Laura stood alone later in her office, watching a slow rotation of stars above the hollow table. Amy entered quietly. Public morale is unstable, Amy reported. But holding. Laura nodded. It always is at the start. Amy hesitated. You really believe this will work? Laura looked at her then, not as a general, but as a woman who had lived through storms, crises, and close calls since childhood. The Empire thinks war is about fear, Laura said, about being louder and bigger than the other side. She turned back to the stars. Humans learned a long time ago that fear is just information, she continued. And information can be used. Amy smiled faintly. You've been planning for this. For something like this, Laura corrected. Not them specifically, just the idea. A soft alert chimed. First contact reports. Early Imperial probes crossing into fringe space. Laura's smile returned, just as calm as before. Send the standing orders, she said. Phase 1. Quiet response. Amy nodded and left as the door closed. Laura watched the red markers begin to move. The galaxy believed it had just declared war on a fragile species. Laura King knew better. This was not the beginning of humanity's panic. It was the beginning of the Empire's mistake. Galactic Empire declared war. The human woman general only smiled. Is that all you've got? Part 2. Underestimating humans. The first wave of the Empire's attack began quietly, almost imperceptibly. In human space. The alerts were minor at first. Sensors picked up fast-moving ships, hundreds of small probes, and scout vessels. Reports filtered up to human command centers that the Empire was moving in. No one panicked. Not yet. General Laura King sat at her command table, sipping water. Her eyes scanned the incoming reports. Her staff grew tense around her, but she remained calm, almost bored. Admiral Ben Carter frowned. Their fleet is larger than we expected. They've deployed 5 full battle squadrons along the outer rim. Laura did not flinch. Numbers mean nothing if they're predictable. Amy Brooks, seated beside him, raised an eyebrow. They're counting on human fear. They've already broadcast propaganda across the neutral zones. They want allies to see us as weak. Then let them think it, Laura said. The first real engagement came at a mining colony near the Epsilon frontier. Imperial scouts had assumed the colony would be lightly defended. In reality, automated defense drones and small human strike ships were ready. When the Imperial fleet arrived, expecting easy surrender, they found only silence. At first, nothing happened. Then lasers cut through the void, hitting the lead scout vessels. Entire groups of ships vanished in seconds. snatched by long-range torpedoes and autonomous drones. On Earth, news stations reported nothing for a full cycle. The Empire assumed the humans were panicked and silent. They were wrong. Lavra watched the holographic feed in her command room. Her smile was small, confident, unreadable. They expected chaos, she said quietly. They will not get it. Ben leaned over the table. We could move in faster, counterattack now. Lavra shook her head. Let them move. Let them overextend. The Empire's arrogance is more dangerous than their fleet. Amy nodded slowly. They think our technology is primitive. Old data, old intelligence. They haven't noticed the new defense grids or the strike drones. Exactly, Lavra said. And they won't until it's too late. Meanwhile, the Empire pushed forward aggressively. They believed their sheer numbers would overwhelm humans before any strategy could take effect. Warships spread through space lanes, scanning systems for weaknesses. Firing at colonies that resisted, they underestimated the humans' patience dot in one of the outer systems. Captain Kate Morgan maneuvered her small squadron of stealth ships. Imperial forces approached, expecting easy victories. Kate waited for the signal from Earth. Then, in a coordinated strike, human drones attacked. Within minutes, an entire Imperial scout group was destroyed. Imperial commanders were shocked. They had expected minimal resistance. They had expected fear. They're stronger than we thought, one officer said. Impossible, replied another. This is a primitive species. Their fleets are small. Their technology is backward. Back on Earth, Lavra studied the same battle feeds. Primitive? She murmured. Not even close. Colonel Amy Brooks entered the command room. We've received intelligence from spies in the outer sectors. The Empire is confident. Too confident. They've spread their forces thin, relying on fear alone. Lara nodded. Perfect. That is exactly what we wanted. Amy looked puzzled. But you're letting them continue their advance? Yes, Lavra replied. If they think they're winning, they make mistakes. They overcommit. They expose themselves. Human engineers were working tirelessly, building more drones, refitting old ships with new weapons, and activating hidden AI programs that could anticipate Imperial maneuvers. Every move the Empire made was being recorded, studied, and prepared for counterattack. Meanwhile, Imperial propaganda was spreading across neutral systems. They painted humanity as disorganized, fearful, and weak. In one neutral colony. People listened to broadcasts showing human fleets retreating from outer systems. Colony leaders were outraged and demanded immediate action from the Empire. They are running, an Imperial officer said proudly. The humans admit defeat. Back in human command, Lavra sat quietly with her eyes on the map. They believe what they see. Perfect. The first human counter-ambush was scheduled. Small groups of Imperial ships would be lured into asteroid fields, traps, and energy nets. Automated drones would disable engines, leaving targets adrift for boarding or destruction. Lavra briefed her officers. We will let them move where we want. We will strike where they least expect it. This is war of the mind, not just firepower. Ben Carter looked concerned. Is it safe to hold back? To let them approach our territory? Lavra smiled faintly. Sometimes you gain more by letting them act than by acting first. They are predictable because they believe themselves superior. We will show them otherwise. The first skirmish of the larger campaign began at night in the outer frontier. Imperial warships entered a system that appeared abandoned. Small human strike ships waited in ambush. Automated drones launched silently, disabling the Empire's largest vessels. The Imperial commanders had no idea how many ships were in the system. They assumed overwhelming force would crush any resistance. By the end of the engagement. Several Imperial ships were destroyed, and the rest were forced to retreat. Back in the command room, Lavra looked at the reports and allowed herself a small nod of satisfaction. "One down," she said. "Many more to go." Amy frowned. "The Empire will respond more aggressively now." "Let them," Lavra replied. "They always do. Every overreaction is an opportunity." Outside, the galaxy continued to believe that humans were weak, panicked, and unprepared. But humans had learned patience, strategy, and the art of fighting smarter, not just harder. On the human side, morale remained high. Civilians were protected, and small victories were celebrated quietly. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock to improve weapons, shields, and fleet coordination. Lara watched it all with calm determination. To the Empire, it would seem as if humans were always one step behind. But in reality, they were ahead quietly, carefully, and deliberately. "They think this is the beginning of a war they can win," Lavra said softly to Amy. "It's only the beginning of their mistakes." The Empire had underestimated humans. They had assumed fear would control them. They had assumed arrogance would be enough. They were wrong. And General Lavra, King only smiled. Galactic Empire declared war. The human woman general only smiled. "Is that all you've got?" Part 3. The human counterplay. The Empire thought it was winning. Imperial commanders were confident now. After their first clashes, they believed humanity was hesitant, inexperienced, and slow to react. Their fleets moved deeper into human-controlled systems, expecting easy targets and minimal resistance. They were wrong. In the command chamber on Earth, General Lavra King watched the movement of Imperial fleets on the holomap. Red markers spread into human space, each representing ships moving toward the frontier. Her own forces, marked in blue, were fewer in number, but placed with care. "They're stretching themselves too thin," Lara said, her voice calm. "Every fleet has a weak point. Every advance leaves something unprotected." Admiral Ben Carter leaned over her shoulder. "They're aggressive. If we don't act soon, they could reach the inner colonies." Lavra shook her head. "Patience. They are already too deep." "That's exactly what we wanted." Amy Brooks tapped a tablet, bringing up the latest intelligence. "We've identified their command vessels. Their main fleets are following predictable routes through the Beta and Delta corridors. They believe the outer defenses are light." Laura nodded. "Good. Prepare the strike teams." For humans, war was never just about firepower. It was about planning, observation, and timing. Small human units moved quietly across systems, using hidden asteroid fields, nebulae, and abandoned stations for cover. The Empire's massive fleets, confident and slow, became easy targets. Captain Kate Morgan led a squadron of stealth ships through the Delta corridor. Her orders were simple: monitor, record, and wait. At the right moment, her ships would strike. At the same time, Major Alex Rivers prepared the drone networks. Hundreds of autonomous craft waited, hidden in asteroid belts, ready to disable engines, jam communications, or deliver precision attacks. "All systems are ready," Alex reported. Laura smiled. "Good. Let them come." The first strike came at the Delta corridor. Imperial ships moved through space, unaware of the traps waiting for them. Drones emerged from behind asteroids, attacking engine cores and communication arrays. The Imperial command vessels struggled to respond. Explosions lit the darkness, where humans suffered minimal losses. Their ships were smaller, faster, and better coordinated. In the Empire's fleet, confusion spread. "What is happening?" an officer demanded. "Why are our ships failing?" "The humans are clever," another replied. This was not predicted. Meanwhile, on the human side, Laura's team celebrated quietly. No one cheered aloud, but eyes met in understanding. Every victory was carefully measured, every loss noted, but never wasted. Lavra addressed her officers. We strike where they least expect it. Every misstep they make becomes our advantage. Remember, patience, discipline, precision. Amy Brooks reported intelligence from spies in occupied systems. Imperial morale is slipping. Some captains question the Council's orders. They do not expect resistance like this. That's good, Lara said. Doubt spreads faster than weapons. In one system, a human squadron captured an Imperial command ship. Instead of destroying it, they used it to broadcast messages back to other Imperial fleets. The messages were simple. The humans were organized, patient, and ready. Many Imperial commanders began second-guessing their orders. Why haven't they surrendered? One officer whispered, "Because surrender is not in their nature," replied another dot. As the days passed, humans continued their counterplay. Small fleets disappeared behind cloaked jumps, striking Imperial supply lines. Hidden defense satellites fired at unsuspecting ships. The Empire began to realize that brute force alone was not enough. Lara watched the map, noting every red marker and every movement. "They are learning," she said softly. "Not fast enough." Ben Carter frowned. "They'll change tactics. They'll adapt." "They can adapt," Lavra agreed. "We adapt faster." The Empire began sending larger fleets, hoping sheer numbers would break human defenses. But every move was anticipated. Every attack had a counterattack waiting. Human engineers had already upgraded shields, weapons, and coordination systems. They were not fighting blindly, they were fighting smart. Even civilians played a role. Automated stations provided supplies, intelligence, and repairs to fleet units. Colonies became part of the human strategy, supporting the war effort quietly and efficiently. Lavra addressed her commanders one evening. "This is not just about ships and weapons," she said. "It is about the mind. They believe strength alone wins wars. They will learn it does not. They will learn humans plan, wait, and strike at the right moment." Amy Brooks spoke up. "Some neutral systems are watching. They see the humans holding their ground." Lavra smiled faintly. "Good. Let them see. Allies often appear when strength and fairness are clear." The Empire, frustrated by repeated failures, became more aggressive. They targeted supply lines, hoping to starve human fleets. But humans had prepared for this. Alternate routes, hidden depots, and automated resupply ships ensured no fleet was left stranded. In one daring maneuver, Cape Morgan Squadron lured a large Imperial fleet into a narrow asteroid field. Mines and drones destroyed engines, leaving the ships drifting helpless. Humans boarded and captured some vessels, while others were neutralized with minimal collateral damage. Imperial commanders were stunned. "These humans, they fight like engineers," one whispered. Every move calculated, every step anticipated. Laura's smile in the command room was small but steady. She did not gloat. She did not taunt. She simply understood the flow of the war. "We are showing them who we are," she told her team. "Not by fear, not by anger, but by patience and precision. That is how humans win." By the end of the week, the Empire realized its advance had stalled. Every step forward had been measured, every gain temporary. Human counterplay had turned the tide in small but meaningful ways. Imperial ships were damaged, commanders questioned orders, and neutral systems began whispering about human resilience. Lavra leaned back in her chair, watching the reports. "They think their numbers will win. They will learn otherwise." The galaxy had expected fear. Humanity had delivered calculation. The Empire had expected chaos. Humanity had delivered control. And in the quiet command chamber on Earth, General Lavra King only smiled. Galactic Empire declared war. The human woman general only smiled. "Is that all you've got?" Part 4. Breaking the Empire's Will. The Galactic Empire was beginning to crack. Imperial officers whispered in the halls of massive warships. Reports of lost fleets, damaged supply lines, and failed attacks kept coming. Their confidence, so high at the start of the war, was now shaken. Humans did not act like a panicked species. They acted like a machine. Coordinated and precise, striking only when it counted. On Earth, General Lara King watched the holomap as red markers representing Imperial ships moved deeper to human space. She did not panic. She did not rush. She smiled. Admiral Ben Carter frowned. They're still advancing. They could reach inner systems soon. Should we prepare a full-scale counterattack? Lavra shook her head. No, not yet. Let them push forward. The further they go, the weaker they become. Every system they enter without care becomes a trap. Colonel Amy Brooks tapped her tablet, showing reports from multiple neutral systems. Some of the Empire's allies are reconsidering their position. They see our fleet, our discipline. Even some of their commanders are asking questions. That's good, Lavra said softly. Doubt spreads faster than lasers. In the outer systems, human forces moved quietly, preparing for a new stage of the war. Captain Kate Morgan's squadron shadowed Imperial convoys, striking supply lines and communication hubs. Major Alex Rivers' drones targeted hyperjump stations, leaving Imperial fleets stranded or delayed. Each engagement was calculated, precise, and limited in scope. Humans did not destroy entire planets or civilian centers. They attacked only what mattered, the Empire's ability to fight. They think they can conquer us with fear, Lavra said. We will show them strength with responsibility. On one frontier system, a massive Imperial convoy entered what appeared to be an undefended corridor. Drones hidden in asteroids disabled engines and weapons simultaneously. Human strike ships appeared, capturing command vessels and cutting off reinforcements. Imperial forces were left stunned, confused, and frustrated. Meanwhile, humans opened limited diplomatic channels. They sent messages to neutral and allied systems, offering protection, trade, and security in exchange for loyalty. These messages were calm, clear, and fair, never threatening. Some Imperial allies began to defect. Small fleets abandoned the Empire and joined the human cause, recognizing efficiency, fairness, and restraint over brute force. Lavra watched the reports. This is why we never destroy more than needed, she said. Strength is respected when it is disciplined. Power without care creates fear, not loyalty. Imperial leadership convened emergency meetings on their capital ships. They demanded results, but each new report brought failure. Their superweapons had been neutralized without the destruction of entire systems. Their fleets were trapped or destroyed in small, careful strikes. Their allies were leaving. The humans, they realized too late, fought differently. They calculated, planned, and struck with precision. They were not reckless, not panicked, not arrogant. Ben Carter looked at Lavra. They're losing faith in themselves. Good, Lavra said. We do not need to break the Empire with brute force. Doubt will do it faster. Even civilians contributed quietly. Colonies served as repair stations, intelligence posts, and supply hubs. Engineers worked around the clock, modifying ships and weapons. Scientists developed new strategies and AI programs that predicted Imperial tactics. Every human acted as part of the war effort, united by survival and careful planning. In one daring operation, a human squadron captured a large Imperial command vessel and used it to broadcast messages to other fleets. The broadcast was simple. The humans were organized, disciplined, and patient. Many Imperial captains began to question orders, unsure if victory was even possible. The Empire's council grew desperate. They deployed a superweapon, hoping to intimidate humanity and force surrender. Laura's intelligence team discovered it before it could be used. We know where it is, what it can do, and how to neutralize it, Amy Brooks reported. Lavra nodded. Good. We strike, but carefully. No system destroyed, no civilian lives lost. The operation was executed flawlessly. Human fleets disabled the weapon, leaving it intact but useless. The Empire's leaders were humiliated, and news of their failure spread quickly. Back on Earth, Lavra addressed her commanders. This war is not about destruction. It is about showing the galaxy who humans are. Every strike is deliberate, every move measured. This is how we break them, not through fear, but through discipline. By the end of the cycle, the Empire had lost multiple fleets, countless supply lines, and several allied systems. Morale in their command ranks was collapsing. Rumors spread of rebellion, mutiny, and surrender. Human forces, in contrast, remained disciplined and steady. They did not gloat or act arrogantly. Every operation was precise, every success calculated. They fought like humans always had, smart, careful, and united. Lavra sat back, reviewing the reports. They believed war is about power, she said quietly. We are teaching them it is about responsibility. Strength is respected, not feared. In the void of space, the Empire's fleets retreated, regrouped, and hesitated. Humans did not chase them recklessly. They allowed them to withdraw, to reconsider, to doubt themselves. The galaxy began to notice. Neutral systems whispered about human strength, discipline, and fairness. Even planets once loyal to the Empire reconsidered. Human influence grew, not through fear, but through respect. Lara turned to her team. This is why we never overreach. Every step is calculated, every victory measured. We are showing the Empire that they cannot control us, and that their power is only as strong as their understanding. The Empire had expected chaos. Humanity delivered control. The Empire had expected fear. Humanity delivered patience. The Empire had expected surrender. Humanity delivered strategy. And in the quiet command room on Earth, General Lavra King only smiled. The galaxy was beginning to understand why humans were different. Why they fought not just with weapons, but with intelligence, discipline, and morality. The Empire's will was cracking, their fleets faltering, their allies leaving. Humans had not only survived, they had taken control of the narrative, the battlefield, and the galaxy's perception. And all it took was patience, planning, and the unshakable confidence of one human woman who never feared the declaration of war. Galactic. Empire declared war. The human woman general only smiled. Is that all you've got? Part 5. The smile explained the Empire's fleets were in retreat. Imperial commanders had gathered on their capital ships, their faces pale beneath the glowing lights of control panels. Reports of lost fleets, damaged supply lines, and mutinies from allied systems had arrived in waves. The Empire had never expected humans to fight this way. They had expected fear, chaos, and surrender. What they faced instead was control, strategy, and patience. On Earth, General Lara King watched the holomap of human and imperial movements. Red markers had shrunk in size. Many were gone completely. Blue markers remained steady, organized, and strong. Admiral Ben Carter approached. They're pulling back. Their fleets are scattered. The Council is requesting parley. Lara did not react immediately. She studied the map carefully, noting every fleet, every ally, every open system. She had anticipated this moment for a long time. They've realized what we always knew, she said softly. Humans do not surrender. Humans adapt, plan, and fight smart. Their belief in control is what makes them dangerous. Amy Brooks entered, holding reports from outer systems. Some Imperial allies are openly defecting. Colonies and planets once loyal are joining our coalition. They're impressed by our restraint, as well as our victories. Lara nodded. Strength without care is tyranny. Strength with discipline earns respect. The Empire sent envoys to negotiate. They requested a meeting in neutral space. Human fleets were ready, but Lara allowed only limited forces to escort the envoys. Humans did not overreact. They did not flaunt their power. They showed calm, confidence, and control. When the envoys arrived, Lara greeted them personally. She did not raise her voice. She did not threaten. She did not gloat. "You've seen our fleets," she said. "You've seen what happens when humans plan, wait, and act with care. Your losses are not due to cruelty or luck or fear. They are due to your mistakes. You underestimated us." One of the alien envoys bowed slightly. "Your species? We did not anticipate this. You? Do not fight like the others." Lara smiled faintly. "We fight like humans. We survive. We protect our people. We make decisions carefully, with responsibility. You assumed war was about power and fear. You assumed we would panic. You were wrong." The envoys left, carrying reports of defeat, not humiliation, and of humans who fought with intelligence, not cruelty. Across Imperial space, commanders began questioning their leadership. All eyes defected. The Empire's council splintered back in human command. Lara addressed her team. "This is what victory looks like," she said. "Not chaos. Not destruction. Not fear. Control, planning, patience. That is how we win." Civilians in human systems celebrated quietly. Engineers repaired ships. Colonies continued their daily work. Human life remained steady, even in the face of war. The Empire expected chaos. Humanity delivered calm, efficiency, and strength in one small neutral system. Children played in fields as adults watched the news from distant space. The Empire had once seemed unstoppable. Now it seemed hesitant, weak, doubtful, and humans were ready to move forward, not as conquerors, but as protectors and planners. Lara reflected on the long months of the campaign. The Empire had declared war confidently, expecting fear. Humans had faced much worse plagues, disasters, near-extinction events. War was only another challenge, one that humans were ready for, because they had always planned for the worst. Admiral Carter looked at her, awe in his eyes. "How did you know we would win?" Laura's smile was quiet, almost gentle. "I didn't know. I knew we could survive it. That is all humans need." Amy Brooks nodded. "We never thought we would hold. Not like this." Lara leaned back in her chair. "Holding is not enough. We did more. We taught the Empire that humans are not to be underestimated. We taught the galaxy that strength is more than numbers. Strength is patience, planning, and responsibility." Across space, Imperial fleets were withdrawing. Commanders debated the next move. Many wondered if the war was worth continuing. Many realized too late that humans were not reckless. They did not surrender. They did not fight without thought. They struck only when it mattered, protecting their people while dismantling their enemies' will. In every human-controlled system, there was quiet pride. Humans did not celebrate by destroying. They celebrated by surviving, by planning, and by showing that even a smaller fleet with care could defeat the largest empire. Lara stood before her officers one last time. "The Empire will rebuild," she said. "They always do. But they will remember this war. They will remember that humans do not fight like others. They will remember that we fight with intelligence, patience, and restraint. That is our victory. That is why we smiled." Her team understood. The smile was not arrogance. It was calm confidence. It was knowledge that humans had survived the impossible, faced a powerful enemy. and had not lost their principles or their discipline. In the weeks that followed, humans assisted neutral systems, repaired damaged colonies, and negotiated fair treaties. They did not seek revenge. They did not conquer. They offered protection and stability. The galaxy slowly began to trust humans, not out of fear, but out of respect. For the Empire, the lesson was clear: never underestimate humans. They were small in number compared to the Empire. Their technology was not the most advanced, but their minds were sharp, their strategy unmatched, and their patience unending. General Lavra King returned to her office, looking out at the stars. The red markers of Imperial fleets were fewer. Blue markers of human fleets were steady and strong. The galaxy had expected panic. Humans delivered calm. The galaxy had expected chaos. Humans delivered order. The galaxy had expected surrender. Humans delivered intelligence. And she smiled, not because the Empire was defeated, not because humans had won battles. She smiled because humans had proven something far greater. That survival, discipline, and planning were stronger than fear, numbers, or threats. And in that smile, the galaxy understood why the declaration of war, meant to intimidate, had accomplished the exact opposite. It had revealed humanity's greatest strength, the confidence that no matter what was thrown at them, humans would endure, adapt, and prevail. The war was over. The Empire's will was broken. Humanity's reputation was secure. And General Lara King, calm, patient, and wise, had smiled at the very first message, because she had always known this would be the outcome.